I am not making this video to by any means attract attention to myself than possibly what I already have in previous videos. I'm not making this video to offend somebody by any means, and honestly I don't know why you would be offended, because it's my own personal opinion. This is my experience through my own eyes, not yours. And if you do become offended somehow, I feel very sorry for you, because you are in some serious need of help, and you should probably go and get some, because it will benefit your life. And why wait? You should do it now. It's an amazing world outside of whatever it is that you're locked into. I am making this video to give light on a situation that most people would never come forth and really speak out on, because it is a very harsh reality, especially if you're a person going through something like this. It's very hard to come to terms with yourself after you've gone through something so fucked up and traumatic. You know, whatever the situation may be, it is hard to come through and to make something of yourself in the process. So this is why I'm making this video. It's to shed light and to possibly help other people that are going through this as a means to be like, hey, you're not alone. And I'm sure a lot of people out there are going to be like, well, why would this help somebody? Or how could this help somebody? I mean, you're just making a video. This is not going to benefit anybody. That's not true. It could help somebody. There needs to be more content like this out on the internet. And to give sort of a generalization of what we can do as people. I mean, there are so many people out there fucking dying and killing themselves because of stupid bullshit, you know, bullying, drugs, you name it, people are fucking dying, and nobody seems to really give two shits as far as like reaching out and helping somebody. And this is the age right now where people need the most help and guidance. So this is my platform, if anything, is to help somebody get through something that I had to fucking do alone. And that is the saddest and the most hurtful experience one could go through, is doing something alone. It's hard. It's fucking excruciating, but it is possible. So I'm going to tell you guys about my life as an addict. I am an addict. I'm not going to say I was an addict. I am recovering, and I always will be recovering, but I will always be an addict as well. I could be clean for 15 fucking years, maybe 20 years, and I would still be an addict. But because of that fact, that does not define me, who I am as a person. That's not the way I live my life. That's not the way I choose to present myself. It's just a part of my life that I choose to speak out on so other people can understand me better as a person. And as a subscriber to me, I think I owe that to you, to understand me better, whether it be even the simplest thing about my life. I think it helps understand who I am as a person a lot, because you might find yourself questioning me at times, and, you know, that happens. But all I can say is that I am trying, and I try every day, and I work on myself so hard so that I can be a better person tomorrow and the next day, and so on and so forth. And that's what everybody should do if they're going through something, because it's important to be a work in progress every single day of your life, no matter you being an addict or not. I just think, in general, it is important to perceive yourself as a work in progress so that you can become the better version of yourself, or the best version you can be of yourself. And I think that's probably the most important thing anybody could do in life. So my journey as an addict, I guess I'll call it, it didn't start as like a stereotypical addict would begin, I guess, if you want to say that there is such a stereotype for one. There was nothing wrong with my life. I have a really great life. I've always had a really great life. I went through peer pressure and shit like that, and anything that a teenager would go through. But being 16 years old, I really didn't have anything to complain about. But when you're a teenager, you don't see life that way. You think you're always right about things, that everybody else is wrong, that you can self-diagnose and everybody else can get fucked. Like, it's one of those things where you just, it's a whole different world. You're seeing everything in black and white. Like, you don't understand life until you hit your 20s, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but it's certainly true. You don't see things the way that you will when you get older, and it fucking sucks. Being a teenager is probably the roughest time a person could go through, and I mean, not everybody's going to have the same experience. It's just, it's a really hard time for a person, and it's going to be hard for the rest of your life, I guess, no matter what stage of life you go through. It's always going to be hard, but I believe as a teenager, it's the fucking worst. And high school never helped matters whatsoever. High school was the worst. And again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It sucked. So, I mean, nothing was really bad in my life. It was just a part of my life that I chose to get into. I made a choice and I stuck with it, and it was the worst decision I had ever made in my life. So, I mean, everything in life is a lesson, and this was a huge lesson for me. I was addicted to narcotics. I enjoyed taking them. I did suffer from some pain. I have a lot of joint pain, and I still do to this day. I don't take anything for it. I do like natural alternative remedies to help ease my pain. I smoke marijuana. I take ibuprofen. I mean, that's not a big deal. But when I got into doing narcotics, it was to, one, help ease the pain that I was feeling in my joints. And the other part was to kind of numb the world and society in general. I had some major anxiety issues, social anxiety, PTSD, I have bipolar, I have a whole bunch of shit going on with me. But you know what? I think that every teenager goes through these things just in general because, you know, life is pretty scary at that time. But when I got hooked on this shit, I was with a friend and her mother had prescriptions for like very chronic pain and things like that. So I remember one day I was pissing and moaning about hurting and stuff, and it just got into a whole mess of other issues that I just decided to vent on. And she's like, well, you know, my mom's got some shit that, you know, could probably help you. And I was like, okay, what is it? So she gave me a pill, and the first thing she gave me was an Oxy. And I was like, okay, you know, is this going to kill me? You know, that was my first thought. But she told me basically that I wasn't going to feel a thing, that I'd be numb, and those were all the things that I was looking for. And when I took it, I really don't remember a fucking thing, because I was so numb to this world that I could care less whether I was coming or going. And that was just a part of life. And, you know, that's how it is when you are an addict. You don't give a fuck about anything but getting that high. And when I started with that and continued on to the next batch of pills that I would be introduced to, it became a cycle. So I was introduced, but I was not influenced. I was not influenced by a person. I was influenced by the high. I wanted to feel this way 24/7, and I did. I mean, before I knew it, I went from popping pills in the back seat of a car to somebody's couch to popping pills in fucking class. And yeah, badass over here, right? I'm sure my teachers caught on to what I was doing, but they never gave a fucking shit about what I was going through or what I was doing to myself. And it was a lethal string of events that they could have reached out to me and been like, hey, I know something's wrong. I know that you need help. Here, let me help you. But no, nobody did that. And not even my own friends did that. It takes a lot for somebody to really get through to an addict. It really takes a lot. And at the time I was like, yeah, I know, whatever. So I would continue on with my life, and I would do that for the next 4 years. When I got out of high school, it got even worse. I mean, I drank in high school and everything like that, and to go along with my narcotic addiction came with severe alcoholism. So not only was I struggling as an addict, even though I liked being in denial, thinking that I was doing all the right things for myself, but I was digging a hole deeper, which eventually would have been my grave. I mean, it's one of those things that it screwed up my life. It really did, guys. It fucked me over really bad. But what did I care? I honestly did not care. So, being an addict has shaped me in a way that I never thought I would ever see myself. I don't feel proud of anything that I've ever done. I feel so shitty half the time because I look back at myself and think, how can anybody ever look at me as a responsible person when I couldn't even take care of myself half the time? There would be times when I'd have to have some of my friends come pick me off the sidewalk to bring me to someplace safe because I was too fucking high to even be coherent. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know where I was. I didn't even know who the fuck I was. So it makes you feel like you aren't a person, that you're not worth anything. But at the same time, you're in this vicious cycle to numb yourself from all your problems when all it's really doing is creating even more problems. I didn't have a steady job. I was working in a really shitty place that was even more degrading than, honestly being high, and I was using people to get what I wanted, and it worked, and I don't understand how it did. I guess, I made it so convincing that it was, that it just worked. I don't know, it was so fucked up, and when I look back on it, I don't understand how I got away with it. I got a lot of people in trouble because of my own mistakes. Like, I couldn't be adult enough to own up to what I was going through. And I guess I just didn't fucking care. As long as I got what I wanted at the end of the day, it really didn't matter. But I screwed up a lot of people's lives because of my choices. And it hurts to look back on that and think, wow, a person can actually do something like this, can affect other people. Well, fuck yeah, it can. It can do a lot more than you actually think. And when you're in that position or that state of mind, you don't care. You don't care what goes on around you. You just care what is going on inside of you. You want that high, you're going to get it some way. You don't care what the consequences are. It's really screwed up. I have went and apologized so many times to all of my old friends. I've said things to make peace with myself when I was going through recovery, because I genuinely feel bad every day for what I caused. Other people lost things because of what I made them do, what I convinced them to do. It's not just you when you're an addict. It's everybody around you that gets pulled in. I'm not just saying it's, the person you walk by on the street. I mean, I'm sure some of them could tell you're high, but I'm just saying, like, if you have a circle that you cling to, those are the people that are going to be affected by it the most. It's not just you at that point, it's everybody around you. My family suffered greatly because of what I did. My friends got into trouble, suffered because of what I did. And I will never be proud of myself 100% because I know what I did. When you come back from something like that, from being an addict, it completely screws you over a lot, because when you thought that you were making the right decision for yourself, you were in fact making a decision for everybody around you, and that you really could have handled the situation in a better manner when you chose to do these things. But you realize later on, when you do a self-reflection, that you just completely fucked everybody. You fucked them, and you fucked them hard. And you will always feel that way. And for those people that go through life after addiction and say that they feel nothing but great things for themselves, you're a fucking liar. They are a fucking liar. You know why? Because at that point, you're not thinking about the whole situation, like as a whole. You are just thinking about yourself and where you are at that point. What you need to be doing is looking back while you're in recovery and thinking about all your wrongdoings. Not just how you can make them right, but think about long and hard how you have just royally fucked things over. And that's what's going to make you become a better person. And, you know, some people don't fall out of that, and that's probably one of the biggest steps you're going to learn when you come out of recovery, is how much shit you did to other people and yourself and just everything. And if you don't realize those things, then in my opinion, you're not really recovering, because you have to go through all these different stages. I know it sounds so cheesy, cliche, and totally by the book sort of deal, but you know what? In this situation, it kind of applies to that. And it should, because you need to look back on things and realize that you were a really shitty person, and that, you know, even though you did wrong, you can make it right. It's just not going to be right, and it won't be for a while. And it sucks. And one of the things that I learned is that, you know, I don't have a lot of the friends that I used to when I was high, and I don't blame them for not wanting any contact with me. And it's probably for the best, for my best interest, that I don't have any contact with these people, because it was a negative part of my life and experience as an addict, because it's a total fucking joke being in that position. And, you know, it sucks when you realize how many friends you've lost, but at the same time, I feel awful for them, because I don't blame them. And the only person I can blame is myself. Again, super cheesy cliche bullshit, but life isn't like a fucking TV drama where things get royally screwed and then have somehow this purpose to everything where you make amends and everything's great again. Like, oh, good job. Because nobody's going to give you a fucking pat on the back when you crawl out of that fucking hole and realize that, wow, how the hell did I fucking get here now? And you know what? That's the next part of everything, is where you're going to go from there. It took a lot for me to get to where I am today. And I had to work super fucking hard to get to where I am. And it sucks. Like, I don't ever want to go back there again. And I don't ever want to have to be that person that has to start over with my life because I just royally fucked things for myself. And, you know, it was a really wise thing for me to do, to really pull myself out of this. But you know why I did that? Because I wanted to. And a lot of people will sit there and be like, well, you need somebody to help you and this and that. No, you don't. You don't need anybody. You don't need anybody but yourself and the want and need to get better. You will never recover unless you want it. And I hate when people are like, oh, I need to get this person some help. Like, if it's their family member or friend, I just want to shake them. I want to be like, you can't. You can't make them do something they don't want to do because they have to want it. I mean, people who are struggling with this will be like, yeah, I should probably do this, and yeah, I need to do this. But in reality, do you want to do this? Because that's the only way you're going to get better, is if you want to. And I wish people would understand that more. And that's why I make it such a priority in my life to talk about these things. And a lot of people get thrown off when I talk about my life as an addict, because people will be like, why would you even talk about shit like that? Like, why would you want people to know? It's like, and all I could do is be like, you know, this is going to help somebody someday. Maybe you are an addict and you are in denial and you don't know what to do or where to go. And maybe I'm going to be that person that's going to give you some sort of direction, because maybe you don't have somewhere to look to. And that's the sad reality of addiction and everything like that, because a lot of people don't have anybody. I really didn't have anybody to help me with my shit. But that's because I wanted to do this by myself. I wanted to get better so badly that I didn't want to have to lean on another person and, you know, have that what if in life. And you shouldn't ever have any what ifs. But my what if in life was, what if I drag this person into my recovery and suddenly fail? Now that's not only on me, but now on them, because they're going to feel like they failed me somehow. And I don't want to be responsible for another person getting fucked over by my dumbass mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fall flat on your face and to realize that the world isn't perfect and that you're never going to be perfect. But it's okay. Because someday you're going to be content with yourself enough to open up and be like, hey, I used to fucking smoke meth, or I used to pop pills, or I used to be a fucking drunk. You know, whatever your situation may be, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay in the end, only if you want it. And I can't stress that enough. And that's why there needs to be more platforms for things like this. Because people need direction. They need somebody out there that's going to guide them somehow. Even if it's just the littlest thing, it's 100% true when they do say little things in life matter. This could be somebody's little thing in life. And you know what? If that helps them get through whatever it is, at the end of the day, I'm going to feel pretty fucking good about it. I may not know it, but deep down inside, I'll feel good knowing that my story helped somebody in some shape or form. So that's why I do what I do and why I talk about these things, because people should understand a person. I suffered greatly for what I did. I have so many internal issues and I have so many psychological issues. I'm royally fucked up, but I'm getting better every day because I chose to heal myself. And that's the only way it's going to work, is if you really want it. And that's just that. Because of my decision to get better, come August, I'm going to be 6 years sober. That's a huge accomplishment. Not a lot of people get this far. But for those that do, I highly commend you. It is a super big deal. It is a huge accomplishment. And you know what? It only gets better from that point on. It'll be hard, but it'll get better. I promise you. So, if people want to look at me and call me a fucking addict, or they want to call me a loser, then that's just fine. That's whatever you want to think of me. But I know who I am as a person, and I don't need you to give me a status so that it helps you sleep at night. Because knowing who I am and what I'm about to become is what helps me sleep at night. And I think that's more important than what anybody has to say about me. So hopefully somewhere out there, wherever any of you are, you find something from this video that helps you or helps somebody else. That's what really matters.